Hey. Right. Hmm. I'm just... I just don't know why it's zoomed into me. I got it better that time. On a better angle. That's the problem. Hmm. Maybe this way. It's better. I don't know. Hmm. Oh, I need to mirror it, right? Forgot to mirror it. Hmm. Okay. Hey. All right. Don't keep me waiting. Load game. All right. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Wait. All right. The defendant's rebuttal. Once a rogue, always a rogue. I say, different breed to us all abiding citizens. Has only 2 bullets when found at the scene. I would say the whole case is done and dusted. Wait a second. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Which way you look at it was that pickpocket. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. Accused attempted theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. I'm a ballistic expert. Seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. Just now he said he's a tourist. All the suspicious jurors there. Van Zieks has managed to convince everyone. When you have eliminated the impossible, he said, but he hasn't. Here I'm trying kitties? Skittles. We're going to fight back. We need more material. We have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again. It's rogue. Always a rogue, I say. Different breed to us all, fighting citizens. That's personal. That's because Miss Lestrade has history of pickpocketing. She must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Oh well, are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty Armed Forces? The greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her from before. She's clearly a criminal, sort through and through. Can't deny it. When you say that she had it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly. Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. I've never actually seen the real thing. Can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. Mr. Sean did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? And then ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe. We still don't know how to tune it plays. We still don't know what tune it plays to, do we? What the? But I would love to see how the original compares to Harley's copy. But gilded disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. I don't know what? Let's check that disc. Where is it? There is blood on it. And a message. Check the message first. From McGilded. That's the man you defended in court a couple of months ago. Isn't it, Bruno? Yes, or rather mistakenly defended. I wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc. That's a question I would love to know the answer to myself. The blood. Oh, Bruno, look. This is blood. Yes, you're right. That's a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Haha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'm waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Bruno. Can you get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash. With her gun. I'm sure that's not, what's her name again? Let's try this. Blood. Oh, a lovely bright shade again. Green. Wait, that color. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we have seen that color, is it? The blood sample. Okay, we updated the blood sample here. Let's check the blood sample. Where is that? Where is that? Blood samples portfolio? Yes. For portfolio. Okay. Unknown. Unknown either. Weird. Same blood here. Okay, let's press on the rest of the jurors. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. Hold it! Hold it. Take blast. What's the number of bullets that has you convinced? Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. They're not sponsoring my stream, but then when the parlor maid asked me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although Yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. One or two guests rather like the fine china. China. Is it China? Thing is, if I Google it, it say China. Fine China. Must be the, the fork and spoon and all that. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose. If there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I would have to reconsider my position. A third bullet somewhere on the scene? Would that be possible? I can prove it. It's impossible. Let's say it's impossible for now. I think it's possible. But let me get the evidence first. Unfortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine the good men of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well, if I missed a bullet while his lordship's office, well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from the police. Perhaps it sounds like a crime scene to me. A third bullet would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere? You don't need a stethoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, towards that pickpocket. Press on him. So if understood correctly, you need 2 pictures, a left eye and a slightly different right eye. Exactly. Then you can see the scene in 3 dimensions like this. So if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can use anything useful with them. I think you'll find that no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. Only person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the door. How can you be sure of that? Think about it. The Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they? Yes, that's been mentioned once or twice. Well then, surely it's coming into focus now, isn't it? This is a waste of time. Not going to change this man's mind anytime soon. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. He is still thinking about his operation. Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it is nothing to do with this trial, to be honest. Huh? I mean, there is no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think? Vanished. I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery have been muttering about all this time. You are operating on... I was operating on that guy. What was the fellow name now? Hairlock? No, Hairlock Jones, by any chance? Yes, good lord. It was that Hairlock fellow. Why is he angry? What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Jones? That's right, using the very latest anesthesia Technique, I might add, it was a fairly major op, I can tell. Let me just, I want to make sure that word is pronounced correctly here. Anastasia, right? So, Anastasia, pronunciation.
Anesthesia.
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 Anesthesia. Okay, good. We're learning. We're learning English. Anesthesia. Techniques. I might add, it was fairly major op, I can tell you. This is crazy. Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere. Couldn't find the bullets. So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. I had to state the obvious, but yes. Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting. The counsel for the defense is correct, as is clearly shown in this photographic print. The bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door. I think you'll find it really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally. Who do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound to the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake? Or are you saying that you checked his back? Of course, I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all. What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly why I said about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser. Even now, how many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain it? How it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery? It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together. The mystery where that bullet ended up is infuriating. Where is an expert when you need one? Let's press on him again. So Sean, surgeon, is on the jury. I have experienced some coincidence recently, but this is ridiculous. I'm not surprised as anyone. But there is no question that Mr. Jones was shot. Well, that's what the police told me when they brought him in. How bad were his injuries, doctor? He was in a bad way. He lost a huge amount of blood, you know? And I suspect he was shot at quite close range too. Because his skin was badly burnt around the point of entry. Burnt? As I said, I flipped the fellow over and examined his back, but there was no sign of an exit wound, which is why I thought I'd better locate the lug and pop it out. And yet you say you found no bullet inside the patient. Well, I found. No, I wouldn't have done, would I? Because it's in the wall of the pawnbroker. Now he knows. But how did it get there? I need someone to solve this mystery before it drives me to insanity. If only there were some expert in ballistic who could help, even if he looked extremely untrustworthy, which is the other juror next to him. So we have a disappearing bullet on our hands. Oh no, no. Juror number 6, I mean. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. Person, no. What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forget to say. Stop. Do excuse me. Stop. I'm a communication officer. Stop. Communication officer? Does that have something to do with sending a telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public, the latest news in the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world? Thousands of miles of cable under the sea. Stop. Worldwide communication network. Stop. She's going crazy with that. She's jamming on that machine. Information transmitted to and from all corners of globe. Stop. Oh yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves or the like before, wasn't she? I specialize in communicating information from government departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Let's just finish the trial first, shall we? See. I'm a ballistic expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. That's the guy. He's suspicious as hell. I thought you were just a tourist. That mouse. He's also reading that book. Good day, I'm visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. There's no, he's just a visiting tourist. So you're a ballistic expert. Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Oh. I have lived through many. How do you say, extreme, violent bath of, no blood of, I'm stretching the here. Extreme, violent bloodbath, perhaps? Duh. Those extreme, violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There's nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But if possible, please, only in Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English. Though is he? No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there is a mystery about guns or bullets. Van Zix has managed to convince everyone. When you have culminated the impossible, he said. Yeah, he hasn't. Going to fight back, we need more material. But yeah, it's the same. Time to... I think we have something. Let's put this No, wait. Newspaper, huh? Oh no. Let's show him. Wait. This guy was just. Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Okay. Oh, a ballistic expert. Pitting. Pit. T. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body, furthermore. I'm reading fast. A bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Villain? I think it's Villain. Pleased to meet you. This apparent contradiction in the facts that is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night, there was blizzard, and I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly, the snow was piling high on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and I fell down in snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. And no sign of, how do you say, exit wound. Then where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice, very close to my side. What? One small piece where sharp broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. One small piece of very sharp broke. Okay. I'm grasping the idea here. Made deep wound that looks just like a bullet wound. Good gracious. Of course. Piece of ice quickly melted inside me. And that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. There were no ice in the pawn shop. But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened in a pawnbroker's shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea. But we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. Bruno, where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think. This area. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. Pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. I swear that he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemical that he uses in his investigation. Wait, vials, glass? How did he... That one? Phils. Fields.
Files.
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 Files. Files, huh?
Files.
Okay. Good. Swear he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Nani? Anthony? Doctor, where's the pot? Mr. Sholmes was wearing. Well, the fool had nothing like that on his person. When he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. That's what I read it. Hope is correct. While I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a submission examination, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry. As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pot in order to assess the wound. Oh, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Good thing, that's it. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a submission examination, I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes' pouch. Files. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it? Look at that. One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded. So that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch, and it was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow injury. This bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least, though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective and the accused shot the pawnbroker. But the pretend facts of the case remain unaltered. Ugh. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy in the night. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much. Very much. Why I'm changing my voice here. Glad I could help. I'm not a voice actor. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester this scurfy pouch as evidence. Holly's pouch isn't scurfy. Sean's pouch has been, yeah. Now it's one of the evidence. Now the submission examination. It would appear the defendant is somewhat struggling to alter opinion. Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. Be a valuable clue. You can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around. Somehow. I'm sure of it. What do we do? I'll check the pouch now. Definitely there's something here. These glasses files are full of Harley homemade potions. Homemade? Yes, like fingerprint powder to show up where people have touched things. Fingerprint powders. And scent amplifying solution to intensify a smell lingering on an object. That's amazing. They're all very easy to use. There's just one thing that you have to be careful of. They're all very flammable. Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb. Either he is passionate about finding out the truth or just oblivious to the dangers. It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look. This must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Oh. That... There's the bullet. What? Oh, what the... Iris, look. Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ah, that's the Skulkin brothers' bullet. What a stroke of luck, and it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is there were 3 bullets fired at Windy Banks that night. We have found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet. It's time to press that juror again, I think. Yeah. Found what we need. Let's just check the back. Oh look, there is a hole here at the back. Doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something ripped through the leather with great force. Something must have pierced it somewhere, somehow to have left this hole behind. Yes, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? Can we open these? Nope. Alright, let's go back and press on the juror. It's the maid, right? She asked for him. Yeah. There is 3rd bullet or not. Come on. You know, he's saying, yeah, it's. I can prove it. Allow me to show you then the 3rd bullet. Well, yeah, hold on. Let's check the bullet first. This is the bullet that was fired from the Skulkin brothers' gun on the night of the incident. Yes, so it turns out it never actually entered Harley's body at all. Thanks to the thick leather of that pouch he was wearing. It saved him. Hehe, Harley always lucky like that. Well, considering what he had to go through in hospital, wonder how lucky he really was. Oh dear, poor Harley. Nothing else. Oh, same. Same. Present, yeah. Take that. Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windy Bank's pawnbrokery. Another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
Oh. What is this new trickery? You Japanese conjurer. Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? Ali? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. And since then, it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit his pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. Ah, 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windybank and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. But that must mean maybe there is a third gun. That's right, we know now that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Ugh. Arrgh, my heart. Order, order, order. While the submission examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation. Prerogative. What the? Let me do Google. Help me pronounce this. Prerogative. Prerogative.
Prerogative.
Oh, okay. Prerogative.
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 Prerogative. Okay, prerogative. As is my prerogative. Okay. Prerogative. As is my prerogative in this situation. بس خلاص. I hereby temporarily suspend the submission examination. By Jupiter. What? Honey? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Man, so sometimes I wish there were more voice acting in this game. Witnesses. Witnesses. Governor? Were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the submission examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? He's gonna eat them alive. Look at his face. Make of it, Gov. I don't make nothing. Is it one of yours? Man. Oh. Okay, make of it, Gov. I don't make nothing of nothing. I can't help it. That's why I sometimes try to read fast, but now I was reading slowly. Anyways, is it one of yours? He's gonna eat them alive. Gore blimey, Gov, gore blimey. Not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? What? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone. Just the two of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Silky. Only two of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Lummy, that's an head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes. I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm. From whence it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we have heard and all the evidence we have seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear that what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. They had a secret accomplice, they had another gun. It's nothing to do with them. All the options are intimidating with it. Any of them could be right. All we'll save it here. Skulkin brothers. If I had an audience, I will ask the chat, but is there anyone in the chat? I don't know. I don't know. They had a secret accomplice. They had another gun. It's nothing to do with them. It's nothing to do with them. I don't think that guy will come willingly. Oh, it's nothing to do with them? No. They're the secret accomplice. Let's see here. People. Maybe they had another gun. Yeah, nobody in the chat. Okay. Let's go one by one. They had a secret accomplice. Could be it. Secret accomplice. On that night. Oh, there is no sound, no music. Usually I'm right when the music is stopped. That night at Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present, someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
An accomplice, you say? Pigs will. Pigs will. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 submission examinations. Yet in all that time, there has been not a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, the court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. Ugh. He wants evidence. Prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Skulkins are lying, I know that. But, once again, how can I ascertain the identity of the person they are hiding? Well, counsel. One second. I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity even in response to the prosecution's demands. My lord, defense is... it doesn't look right ready, but I will go with ready. Let's try. Defense is ready. Look, is not ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. Swimming eye. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene? What proof? Oh, the picture. All right, where is that? Portfolio. Yes.
Take that!
I hope that works. The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rival through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it?
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like ground. The bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. Blood stain? Green blood. Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Sherlock Holmes. By the greatest detective? New invention? Stop. Not yet appeared in stories. No, stop. It's this, you see? Doesn't have a name yet, though. This Fogger sprays chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color. Different elements of people's blood? Yes. Everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Oh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom. Stop. Very exciting. Stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windybank. Oh, a striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this blood stain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now, hold fire there, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windybank was killed. By golly. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries, which means it must be the blood of somebody else, the third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder? Oh, we have only one suspicious guy who appeared other day.
Take that!
We'll go with this guy. Okay. The man's name is Egret Benedict. Benedict? Egret Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Windybank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Egret Benedict, must be a fake name, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker? My stomach is hungry. Doing all this voice acting is not for free. I get hungry. Anyway, broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief was just redeemed an article from you. No? Yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too? Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being through, ask Wendy Bank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder gubbinesses? Yes. I don't know. Oh, we have a picture. Yes, that's him, talking to Mr. Windybank that morning. And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice. Well, Mr. and Miss Skulkin, never seen the geezer before in my life. All my life, Gov, all my life, never seen him. They're lying. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then, show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. Okay. I want proof. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Prove that the man pictured in this photographic print was, in fact, the person struck by the third bullet. I'll save because I only have 2 attempts. Here. What was that? Yeah. Proof that the man did it, right? Must be on the disc. Did I examine this finger? We suspected. That's right. Harley's wonderful conclusion. I suppose. Just want to make sure that that fingerprint is. Did I inspect on it? I think I did. Yeah. Gilded. Must be the disc. Where's that disc? Review scene. Oh. Prove that the man pictured in this photographic print was, in fact, person struck by the third bullet. Proof. A redemption ticket you issued from the pawnbroker owned by the victim. Blood on it has been identified as Mr. Mason's. Pawnbroker's ticket box. Redemption ticket showed with the pawnbroker owned by the victim, Mr. Windybank, in the form of some handwritten notes on the back of photograph. Mr. Windybank appears to have used the fact of this for the... He's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so I think I read this before. Okay. Nothing. Um. No. Ooh. So Windy Max agreed to have used the back of his. Yeah. Is written very neatly, but still perhaps he ran out of paper, so had to use. Okay, it's hard to know what's front of what's the reverse right now. Okay. Maybe it's in the. Oh wait. Um, that don't say anything there. Nope. Do I shot this one? Redemption to get you shoot from on victim. It's from the victim. Broker's ticket. Let me show the disc. Or wait. Can we use this? No, we need 2 copies, right? This doesn't prove it, but I feel I'm missing something here. Okay, we'll try this music box disc.
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted decidefully, admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windy Banks, which is when the aforementioned Egret Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to Porleon the article from the defendant's position. No? Porleon, I think. I'm not sure how to read that one, but okay. That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. But of course, sir, here is the disc for you. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine. Oh, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You have drawn blood, you filthy animal. The blood on the disc of that guy. Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a blood stain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the blood stain here in this very courtroom, using my trusty Fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. Okay, I say it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. Okay. The man calling himself Mr. Egret Benedict, who was in Windy Banks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. I change my voice. Look at those two brothers now. They are swearing. Oh, what are you talking about? It's boiling in there. I couldn't follow. Let me try to read that again. Is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else there. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Oi, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here. Who's talking here? My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Egret Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. He must be injured. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Holmes, you say? Yes, I have heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the okay. Do not eat in the voice acting. Duly noted. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. Vulgar classes. Okay. A god of detection or some such. She didn't like that. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here is to you, successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color. Oh, well. Oh. And pray do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Storm's word for it. Oh. Is he right? I don't know. I mean, he's a great detective. What are you talking about? Can't let him get... We're gonna read that again. Is he right? Is Mr. Sean's concussion a load of rubbish? I don't know. I mean, he is a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sean's invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said there before. Father. About how he was temporarily suspending the submission examination. Oh. In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it? Good grief, what did you just say, young girl? And in a submission examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Harley's inventions. She means that guy, the prosecutor. At least not for now. Yes, she's right. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runu. Is that about right? Would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Mrs. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. She can read Ryunosuke's minds also sometimes. After that, shrewd pieces of the situation from an entirely unexpected source. It must be acknowledged that the previous submission examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Oh, what?
Guilty.
What?
Not guilty.
Got many not guilty, so we're good. 2 call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the submission examination.
Objection.
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zix, but the outcome of the submission examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Oh, my heart. Okay, and nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subphonia of a new witness. Let me just check this word. Subphonia? I'll just check this word. Google. Let me... Sub P-O-E... Yep. Found it. Subphoned? No. Subphone... Phone, what? What?
Subpoena.
What?
Subpoena.
Safina. The B is silent?
Subpoena.
Safina. Safina يا أخي. Safina.
Subpoena.
Wait.
Subpoena.
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 Yep, subpoena. The B is silent. Okay. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. Okay. I'm not used to this all. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name of the gentleman gave for himself, Egret Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. I thought so, yeah, I was suspicious. Just when I managed to prove the man was there that night, could I say something? Who was that? Please, who spoke? It was me, my lord. Juror number 5. What have you to say, madame? If possible, Inspector. Me, ma'am. I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown. Ah, right. Yes, this one, you mean? Of Mr. Benedict? Yes. There is no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say. You know this man. Yes, I know him. What? No. God gracious. Good gracious. Okay. Order. Juror number 5, how on earth? I am a communication officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, gentleman in the photograph is stop. Also a communication officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop. Oh. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. Suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of a hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong. If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena.
Subpoena.
We should be able to subpoena him within the hour. The word is funny when I say it. It's like tickling, yeah. Subpoena him within the hour. Okay. Lord Van Zeeks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste. As your lordship's bids, right? Bids or bids? Bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witnesses arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Right. This is a good time to take a break. I'll save. Where was it? Episode 12. Let's save it here. And I'll be right back. Take a break. 5 minutes or less. 5 or less. Hello. Yes. Back. Okay. Alright. What's yes. Okay, I hope it didn't take too much time. Okay. 17 of April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, Gina, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly toward her frequent cold shoulders now. All right. Jeannie. Hello. Are you all right? Why aren't you saying anything? She's shy. What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me? What? Well, you see it? That picture? What picture? Oh, you mean this? The photographs taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that can think, I did it, ain't they? We're well past that point now. Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you've got your doubts about me now. You can still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Jeannie, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Eh? Ronald's cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't sleep. Couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-1 to Windy Bank's place. I had to know if Iris' story was there or not. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what he don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Windy Bank for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windy Bank's. Just had to know if he was there or not. I mean, had no idea all of that was gonna kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick, and that's when? What do you think you're doing? Ah! I nearly died. I did. The next thing I knew, I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like I don't know what. Okay. Oh, you're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The the mantle script. Have you got it here? Did Sir Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The hounds of the something or other. If it's here, I wanna see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I would sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with anyway? I just wanna see it. It's here. That's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I wanna know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please let me see it. See it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. And it was there, alright, the mantle script. Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did it. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny. Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick up out the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving the scene. Yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. I'd better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh well, I'll come with you and... No, don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay here. Stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of me and he walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like he said, straining me ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help see. So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself when... Bang bang. I heard a couple of shots go off. Two, I think. Almost at the same time. And then he was. Right at my feet. Lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. 'Cause you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windybank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. Figured I would put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windybank was a goner. I felt funny in me head all of a sudden, kind of dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. That must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I done, the old cove might still be alive. You tell the police everything you just told us. Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it would make things even worse for me. It will be alright, Jeannie. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Runo's about to put the real culprit through the mile. That cove, what was there in the afternoon? That cove, what was there in the... That Egret Benedict. I still remember how he looked at me like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he is involved somewhere, somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. Appreciate your honesty. You what? You can leave it all in Runa's capable hands now, Ginny. She must be shocked that Runa's case believe her now. Or someone believe her, at least. Mr. Naro Odo. Yes. How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGilded, we told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bug truther off with them. With them. With them? Okay, with them, I guess. Even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. Told you that I would be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook. For all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryunosuke, no one's believing you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy. I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I will keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I'll let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no good liar, you're not like McGilded. I know that. Eh? That's right, you're our friend, Ginny. Iris, we know you better than you think. We've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes, that's really all we need to know. Exactly. Mr. Naro Odo, I... Oh, she's coming. Yep. Defendant Gina, yes sir, and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I've been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another, putting all their faith in you. This is it at last. The final chapter, the final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. And I hope you're watching me over me too, partner. Aibo. No. 20th of April, 1:41 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zeeks, have you successfully what's that again? Safina, the witness. Safina? Wait, I forgot the word. I learned this just now. Safina. It's an ED now.
Subpoenaed.
Subpoenaed. Right, the B is silent. Subpoenaed. Lord Van Zeeks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witnesses? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately by my lord. Safina was delivered. Yeah. I'm gonna keep laughing at that. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage. It would seem. I see. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's precise of the case heard by the court this morning. 1 second. Precise. It's not even precise. Précis. British words. I'm learning more British words now. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's précis of the case heard by the court this morning.
Précis.
Okay. Précis. Alright. The glaring omissions of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. And although the defense chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom. Uh-oh. It's a big mistake to cross a Harley, and me, a very big mistake. My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Oh, okay. He's here. Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Ignorant Benedict, I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. There he is. Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena at such short notice, sir. Subpoena. That word reveals you. Oh, man. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for record. Oh, Ashley Graydon, communication officers. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London's Central Communication Station. Now, perhaps somebody would kindly explain what all this is about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume? Yes, I was. Something to do with the murder that took place at the brokers on Baker Street? Some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. This is the accusations. Indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know? Very well, without further delay. The court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You'll respond to the accusation made against you under oath. What the fuck? Gladly, my lord, gladly. I thought he's gonna stop dancing. The accusation. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? Colluded, I guess. Let me just check again. Colluded. No. Collude. Not collided, colluded. Why Google is correcting me while I'm writing in here? A correct word. Collided. What? C-O-double-L U-D-E-D. Yeah.
Colluded.
Colluded. Yeah, colluded. Colluded. Cooperate in a secret or unlawful way in order to deceive or gain an advantage over others. Colluded. Okay. But are you seriously included with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intentions of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Even if certain parties were present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detectives' homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. So you deny the accusations completely, do you? I must say I am dismayed. For the highest scores in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly, how long am I expected to be detained here? And following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established. You'll be free to leave immediately. Good, then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation, at least. Oh, he just arrived and he's gonna he's gonna leave now. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary. Counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. So we meet again, Mr. Benedict? Or is it Mr. Graydon? I apologize. My apologies. You are? Yunus Kenarohdo, defense lawyer, we have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon, enchant. So, he threw that. I trust we can conclude this quickly. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. The accusation. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. Okay, time to save here, because we have more chances. This might be the final part, guys. Let's press on this. Yes, we even met in the very pawn brockery where the crime took place on the afternoon of the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Egeret Benedict, I believe. Tell me. The witness is here to testify about events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. So he's going to be evasive, is he? In an effort not to give anything away? This could be tricky. Are you serious? Suggesting clouded, included. Okay. Alluded with these. Okay, press on this. Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Said by a man who introduced himself as Egret Benedict. I would like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer here, there in the black. This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Oh, he looking down on him even. Well, needless to say, I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. You are able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend, for you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? Witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. Oh my god. Stop dancing. Stop dancing in the court. Silent victory, wiggle, thanks. Yeah, if he did that, what's that dance? That Fortnite dance? That's never mind. I was imagining him doing it. Anyway, that famous dance. I forget it. I don't remember. Okay, even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Let's press on this. Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There is no question of that. Doesn't do this. Mr. Sean's chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? يطالع. Could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sean's chemical is... Oh wait, he interrupted him. Sometimes the character interrupts the other one sentence. Mr. Sean's chemical is able to differentiate different blood samples by... Spare me the science lesson. Who's this Sean's character anyway? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say, great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we are in the realm of a fairy tales, are we? Who did that? Oh.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What? Me? No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you. Right, I have had it up to here with this. How many times have I gotta tell you? Yes, I know, you're not big bro sulky. Oh. Mr. Nash Skulkin. Core, blimey, were what? He was caught off guard. Core, blimey, governor. You what? Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share that thought with the court? Me thoughts? I don't have none of them. Must have been him. You what? So Nash Skulkin answered the questions Please, what went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Nothing, honest, Gov. Nothing. I was just thinking if he was his arm around like that much more, it will open up the wound again. That's all. What wound? Well, he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, yeah, now I was worrying for him and, oh, oh, hell's bells. Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? Oh, he's holding his shoulder. What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm. My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuation. Sorry. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you would allow a court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand as if in pain. No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I'm not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery or this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense at the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery. My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon. Bottom line is, I have never had anything to do with the pawnbroking establishment where the man was killed.
Hold it!
Never had anything to do with it. You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I am not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study.
Objection!
No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you are talking about. Stella,
Excuse me!
do you have something to add, Inspector? Hey, come again, Sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. Well, yes, I do remember meeting yourself in there, pawnbrokers, that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant, and the accused were all present, as I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article. And well, now, I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. That's weird. What? But you must. I'm not going to lie and pretend I remember something that I don't. What's going on here? Grixis showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that I hurriedly installed in Windy Banks. Yes, of course. Indeed, and the gentleman picture bears a striking resemblance to the witnesses, I must say. Exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon, the shop, the afternoon in question. At no point have I denied that fact. I merely entered the shop to pursue the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more. Gregson. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all he's going to say on the matter, is it? What do you think, Bruno? I think he has no intentions of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself up away. The complete opposite of Harley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better. Well, at least I managed to prize a little more confirmation from these witnesses' lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers. Yes, they were the key to it after all. So he says he had nothing to do with Windy Bank. Well, we know that's not true. Perhaps now we would be good time to have a proper look through the court record. Good idea. You never know what tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking service. I'll just save it here. I think the last statement has something.
Objection!
Maybe this one. Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was, until the day of his murder, in pawn in Mr. Windybank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, Somebody mysteriously appeared to try to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? Uh, as I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. May have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Oh yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, some of the person in question must bear the remnants also in the form of a scratch. Good gracious, indeed it must. Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. He's wearing gloves too. Well, it would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant. Order. Well, Mr. Graydon, it would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of pawn? What? Would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. The disc. There is a note on the disc saying, Mr. McGildy, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy guttural day in question. I proceeded once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGill, did you say? Famous London philanthropist who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder. Yes, my lord, the one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Graydon. Are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Order, well, certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGill himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windy Banks. Funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that after that Windy Bank in order to get his hands on Gilded's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. The disc. There's a note on the disc saying, Sir McGilded, but the item belongs to me. Yeah, which part we are? Part 3 of the trial. Okay. There's a note on the disc saying, okay, let's press this. Will you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are simply exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse while on an errand, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. You claim that was your overcoat. Obviously, in my haste, I clearly forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet, there is a note on it that reads, for Mr. McGilded. I am a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city. I was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So the disc in question, it's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of the overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly. Gina didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? No, because McGilded had written her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave it alone for the time being. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy guttering, on the day in question. I proceeded once to the shop. Oh, we didn't press on this. Let's press. So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right. Despite being mindful of danger when walking this insalubrious areas, her kind frequent. Okay. Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course, you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You came to hit the pawnbrokery that day, prepared with all the information you need to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windy Bank. To get your hands on Mr. McGilded's desk.
Objection!
My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense. Oh. Oh man, I get getting sleepy. Wow, 3:50 now. Okay. I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible is use it can be.
Hold it!
Had you ever been into windy banks before? Only once, for the purpose of owning something. But like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after her. Is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first. Of course, such is the art of the pick purse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once in order to reclaim my coat for the thief good. Ultimately trying to recover what was rightfully mine first place. Oh, how can he how he can say that what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. Oh man. والله قفلت. Okay. The end, of course, the disc was taken by the police.
Hold it!
Ah! Just stand a bit. Okay. Yes. Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has
right?
connection to Mr. McGilded as evidence.
Excuse me!
Something wrong, Inspector? Well, what do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. Nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's positions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Fancy? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough. Coopers like me have duties to carry out that we are not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by the Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. What's all this about? It's like there is something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks here. Well, it would appear that the Spectre has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Dr. Graydon, let us turn to your testimony. Gladly, my lord. There was no... See, no reason to break into the shop later.
Hold it!
But perhaps you have seen something of value among the forfeited items? No, not at all. Oh. A valuer was brought by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or golden bric-a-brac. Bric-a-brac. Okay. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilden's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. It was no more in the shop that night than I, as I keep saying, I simply no reason to break in. So there was nothing McGilden left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true. Bruno, if you have some evidence, let him have it. Then I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble. McGill slipped the disc into his pocket. Take the redemption ticket. There is no doubt about it, but this is lying through his building. Police were obviously after anything left behind. That's why Inspector Gibson ended up the disc into custody that day. Maybe last statement. Let's try. Reason to break in.
Objection!
No. No. Add this one.
Objection!
No. Nope.
Objection! Objection!
Uh,
Attention!
uh, stuck again here. Maybe it's not the last statement.
Hold it!
Is that right?
That's coming, yeah, okay. Must be something here. Don't have that. Okay, time to use the guide a bit. My mind won't work here. Too tired. We'll just use the guide for one thing. Okay, enjoy the dialogue. So that's Ashley. This is rather easy as well. I could see how to be tricky. Press on 4 and press through the Gregson. Which I did.
Hold it!
Oh,
Is that right?
pawnbroker's ticket box. Pawnbrokers. Box.
Objection.
Yep. Okay. This disc was deposited at Windy Banks on Magnus McGilded instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intentions of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
conjecture again. In any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. Witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection.
Sorry, my learned friend. That's not true. My learned friend. Excuse me. Need to clear my throat. Okay. Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in pawn at Windy Banks. As this second pawn broker's ticket proves. There were two articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your two accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? What have the man deposited? The article descriptions reads one small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. So that means that for some reason, this Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection.
Oh. It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zeeks? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windy Bank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What? Good gracious. Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Ah, Hurley's red-handed recorders again. As previously explained, using the plan of the shop layout. Okay. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in two locations. One was set to capture the counter, and Mr. Windy Bank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, Miss McGilded Small box had been forfeited already 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on 13 April to be precise, which means it would have been on the shelves of the forfeited items in the shop front. Now, what have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on 15th April. The victim has certainly had a very full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see, so we have two pictures to compare. Though I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we consider theft as one possible motive. In this case, we explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these two prints. Truly, Inspector. Yes, sir. Oh man. I'll need to wash my eyes. Be right back. Okay. Hey, nobody likes to watch. Yeah. Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these two photographic prints. And the yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Alright. I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he would stolen my gilded pawn box. Stop dancing. I have been able to break him down at last. You know what, Bruno? I've been thinking. Wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same. What? We're gonna use the stereoscope. So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what's your position? It seemed that, in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints somewhere? Without discrepancy, there is no discrepancy. Use a piece of evidence. Let's save. Save. Save and choose. Use a piece of evidence. Before I give my answer, my lord, I'd like to try something off, if I may. Try something? What do you mean, counsel? I will need to use a certain piece of evidence on the court record to identify the discrepancy. I'm not entirely sure I follow. Which piece of evidence do you intend to use to help you identify the discrepancy between the two prints?
Take that!
I'd like to use this advice, my lord. View the two prints stereoscopically. Oh, yes, you have caught the bug at last. You can't resist it, can't you? You've got the cross-eyed compulsion. You're number 3. What a surprise. Come on, Bruno. Let's put the pictures in place and see what this wonderful contraption shows us. There we go. Now look through the eyepiece. I wasn't sure at first, but there is a clear discrepancy between these two prints. What? You must identify the location question for the court, counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy of which you speak. Okay, this one.
Take that!
Take that. Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. What? What? You view the two pictures stereoscopically. Okay. A single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Let me wait. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. By Jove, you are right. How extraordinary. He even crossed his eyes. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Windy Banks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact, yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints?
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf, nothing was stolen, which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but alright, McGilded box wasn't stolen then, but doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? Change everything? Change things? Changes nothing, changes everything. Changes everything. I believe this changes everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence sitting on the shelves at Windy Banks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be irrelevant. This trial? Court does not uphold your objections, Lord Van Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Take the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce, disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zeeks. This is nothing but a smokescreen, Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning, that this witness' intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGill perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of its trial in which he was found not guilty. Trial in which he was not found guilty, yes. Trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of the society. His reputations implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend, his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding members of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one with pockets in a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. You knew that was okay. It's not as if it was a gold or jewel, or is it though? Goodness, can you deposit such a okay? Prosecution. Let's see. Great then. You know, that does make a rather a lot of sense. It's not as if it was a gold or jewels, is it? Though goodness knows Mr. McGilded was rich enough, but you can't deposit cash at a pawnbrokery. I'm quite certain of that. It is in combat on the defense now. The blaster is armed. To explain what equatory significance these a commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box in any tangible way related to this case? Well, what's the matter, Ronan? We know that they are related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course, you and I both know that. We know McGilded's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to be acknowledge that McGilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense argument was flawed, based on false information. Oh no. That would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. But Jeannie, could it be that Van Zeeks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything. But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry, what do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later, the truth comes out. Every time. Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGilded deposited with Mr. Windybag. It's something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? Gina testify. Leave it or have Gina testify. Uh, mm, well, I'll go with have Gina testify. Brutal shall appear. My lord, the defense would be like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilded's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness's stand. The defendant? To what end? Is to do with the various articles deposited at Windy Banks by Mr. McGilded, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. To prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you have considered the implications of the testimony you are proposing, in particular, the impact it will have on the accused standing and indeed your own. So he nods. I have. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain the last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. Very well. You have no objections. So the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Ms. Gina Lestrade. Your witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand with Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina. It's time. I know this will be hard, but please put your faith in me. Here. Good luck, Bruno. The articles that Mr. McGilded had deposited Windy Bank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. Omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now we all are again. Same players in that trial facing each other once more. Twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend? Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter street. Far from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. As the trial progressed, another possibility emerged that the murder, in fact, took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight to the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted, of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in the very courtroom in the most extraordinary of the circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months ago, as indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the desk nor this small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago? I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to persecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. Jeannie, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Bruno now. Iris, we're on your side. Alright then, I will talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears, so be it. I must confess that I am struggling to understand what's on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilded's Bond articles in that extraordinary case of Omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. Oh, I want to type this one. Hitherto.
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 Hitherto. Until now, or until the point in time under discussion. حتى اليوم.
Hitherto.
Hitherto. 1 second. Hitherto.
Hitherto.
Hitherto. Hitherto. Okay. Alright. Harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. Thomas Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it, then. Everything's going to come out like Van Ziek said. This could bring the whole courtroom down by about my ears. But as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Oh. The real truth of Omnibus case. Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard the scream from over me and head on that pair on the roof deck went off to call the slopes. That's when McGilded slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop around about. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing, to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Good grief, this is outrageous. What you have just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord, then there is every chance I may have adjudicated an error in McGilded's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial of this witness and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. Let's hear the crowd. Without doubt, your lordship, the action of the accused in the trial of this witness and my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. That McGilded fellow was rotten to the core, just like that pickpocket. Don't forget that lawyer from the east. They were all in on it together. You're wrong. The lot of you, Mr. Naruto, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug. I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop. Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilded's Bond articles must be brought to light. Very well. My learned student friend. Given the depth of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Oh man. Maybe I think it's enough here. Yeah. Gonna stop around here. I'm streaming for 4 hours now. Almost 4 hours. Can you blame me? Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the voice acting by yours truly. Haven't saved your game. Don't. Yes. Right then.